The old saying goes, there's no smoke without fire. I don't think it completely applies to football, not in every instance anyway. But in this one, and I do mean the pursuit of Declan Rice from Chelsea, I think there's so much smoke that there's got to be at least a smouldering ember somewhere. If you look at, say, Felipe Anderson, for instance, Felipe Anderson, the story comes out that Arsenal are interested. Well, the story's been and gone before you know anything about it, largely because it wasn't true. It came from one source, one leak. A couple of other people picked up on it, and it really benefited nobody, and the story fizzled out. In fact, if you were looking for no smoke about fire and a Felipe Anderson saga, you'd probably be looking more towards Lazio, because there have actually been so many smoke signals with his return to Italy. You've got to think that there's probably a blaze starting somewhere. I think the Declan Rice situation is different again. And I've entitled the video Chelsea Smell Blood because I think it's exactly that. It's like a predator smelling blood. It's like a shark sniffing a bit of blood in the water and going on a feeding frenzy. And I think that's what's happened here. I think it's quite possible that Chelsea were going to put off their pursuit of Declan Rice until next season. And I think they probably felt that they could leave it for now. Let's be fair, they've done enough business. But I think they look at the wounded animal that is West Ham United right now and think, actually, maybe there's a deal to be done at this particular time. Maybe this will be an easy catch, so to speak, because we're in such a weak position. And as I said a couple of videos ago, not only are we in a weak position, we're telling everybody that we're in a weak position as well. But you don't have to necessarily listen to what we're saying. Our desperation to offload Jack Wilshere, cut him some kind of deal, just so he leaves. We'll still make a loss, but we're desperate to get rid of him. The Roberto thing as well. I mean, it was largely reported that we'd sold Roberto. It was not an advantageous deal for us. He came over. He almost cost us relegation. Was absolutely useless. And to get rid of him, we were never, ever going to use him ever again. And to get rid of him, we still gave him an additional half a year's wages. I mean, we gave him a lot of money to go. In essence, we paid him to leave, and immediately, by some miracle, he went and walked into another job. Chelsea will be looking at the situation with the Jesse, where we buy this player for £7, £8, £9 million, depending on what paper you read. We don't know what to do with him. We can't play him. And we basically get rid of him for less than half the money to Celtic, less than a year later. Again, it gives the indication that we are a club that are struggling financially. And also, you've got to look at the Hugo deal as well, because you've seen much the same thing. Not only do we make a loss on Hugo, not only did we buy poorly in that particular instance, but actually we potentially have somebody on our hands there who is, I think it'd be fair to say, last season he proven himself as a championship striker that could score between 15 goals and maybe 20 goals in the championship next season. Yet we sell him low. Again, it gives off the whiff of desperation. It gives off the whiff of weakness. Now, the final nail in the coffin, of course, is the Diangana situation, whereby we've already shown and displayed to Chelsea that we're willing to sell one of our best youngsters. We even said we don't want to sell him, but we'll sell him. I mean, actions speak louder than words in many respects, and everything I've just described, every transfer, every bit of wheeling and dealing we've done is an action. And quite frankly, it's a terrible way to do business. And I think if you're looking to buy a player, you probably look at who you're buying from. So if you're going to go and buy from Daniel Levy, you just immediately think, I can't really muck this bloke about. I'm not going to go in with a derisory offer. Because he's going to play hardball. I'm probably not going to get what I want. He's probably going to keep me hanging right until the end of the transfer window, and he's going to do me over. That's the perception of Daniel Levy, because he's been such a difficult guy to deal with in the past for numerous clubs. We have a very, very different reputation at the moment, and I think this is what has spurred on Chelsea to actually make this bid now. Now, where's the story come from? And here's the key, because there have been lots of stories from lots of different sources. And that's what makes me think, well, hold on, there's an awful lot in this, because To whose advantage is it to keep leaking these stories? Not really to the press, the press's advantage, because they don't need to with Chelsea. The press don't need to make up stories about Chelsea's transfers. They have so many Chelsea transfers to write about. They could fill all their back pages with Chelsea. Such has been the amount of business and transfer dealings that they've done in this transfer window. It's been highly impressive. They've spent a lot of money. They brought in world-class players. They brought in famous players. Believe you me, they don't need to make up stories. Liverpool, yes, look, Liverpool are the league champions and they appear to be buying nobody. Of course, there's stories to be made there because really the truth is actually quite boring. So where's this coming from? Well, as I say, several different sources. So it can only really be driven by one of two parties, either driven by Chelsea or it's driven by Declan Rice. I'll let you decide where it's coming from because, quite frankly, I don't know. But this latest link is from a reliable journalist. This is from somebody. He's an Italian journalist. I should have written his name down before doing this video. I don't. Many of you will know. What's his track record? What's his credibility? Well, pretty damn good, actually. I think this is the guy that first broke the news we were signing Felipe Anderson, funny enough. And also, I think he was the first person to break the news that we were signing Sebastian Haller. So he gets a lot of these continental transfers right. In many respects, in European terms, he is the in the know. So he's saying this, and everybody else is saying this. Now, Chelsea, according to the rumour, Chelsea are willing to pay about 45 million quid. Now, whilst that is a shocking figure, and as I'm sure everybody will agree, it's far too low, it is the start of a negotiation. But the fact that they have started so low, I think, probably indicates that they know that they can get Declan Rice for less than 60. And that really is a damning indictment of how we've bought and sold as a football club. Because even if we turn around and say, Declan Rice isn't for sale, oh, right. Is that so? Really? Well, here's your bid anyway. And I think very much that's the way Chelsea are going to go. Because what are they going to do? Are they going to go play a game of financial roulette with Roman Abramovich? Well, they're just going to lose, aren't they? A game of chicken, let's say, financial chicken. They're just going to lose. No, they need the money. They've demonstrated their need for the money. If it was just about buying, selling to buy, then surely the Hugo, the Ajeti, and selling Diangana would have done it, right? Surely we're flush now. We got some money, sorted. Well, no, the fact that it carries on and you still read the story today, desperate. Those are the words in the article, desperate to offload Wilshere. Well, we shouldn't be desperate. Yes, Wilshere's on a lot of money. Wilshere has not worked out, of course. But we saved a comparable amount of money just in releasing Zabaletta's wages. We saved 3/4 of Wilshere's weekly wage, by letting Sanchez go. And that discards all the savings we'd made on wages the season before with Chicharito, Perez, Andy Carroll. You know the rest of the story. Yet we still pedal out and emit, let's say, this desperate aura around us. We're skint. Very much, not only are we skint, we've handled coronavirus badly. We need the money. We seem to have just handled it worse than everybody else. If we haven't, if there are other clubs who have handled the financial implications of coronavirus better than West Ham, then all I can say is they've done a damn sight better job of hiding it in the press. They're at least puffing their chest out and pretending to be all right. They're all right. Burnley would be a great example. I think Burnley are quite skint. I think Burnley have missed out on gate receipts massively. They don't have an awful lot of commercial revenue. There's not a lot of sponsorship. There's not an awful lot. I would imagine they've taken a massive, massive hit. Yet Burnley are puffing their chest out. Nah, 30 million? You're not having him. Come back with 50. There is no way right, that they're going to be able to continue to turn down money. And I only say that about Tarkowski, as there's also no way that West Ham can afford to up the limit. But the point is they're giving the impression they can afford to turn it down. That's really a good look, because if anybody else wants one of Burnley's other players, then they're not going to come in and lowball them straight away. They're going to come in. If they've got an asset there, they're going to come in. They're going to say, okay, we'll pay the going rate for this player, and our opening bid will be somewhere in and around that mark. We're not doing that. And for that reason, I've got to be honest, going back to the start of the video of no smoke without fire, it's got me worried now. I don't need to talk to you guys because you've watched this video. You know what Declan Rice means to West Ham. You know how pivotal he is for the team. Because we wouldn't go out and buy somebody better than him. Whoever we get in is going to be worse than Declan Rice. The implications to the team are huge. But I think Chelsea are now looking at it, and very much the article specified that they would look to do the deal, towards the end of the month. I don't think they need the money. By the way, N'Golo Kante is being linked with Inter Milan today. Is that part of the process? I don't know. But the very fact that they're confident enough to leak 40 million quid, the fact that they're confident enough to leak, do you know what? We can even wait 2 or 3 weeks, shows the lack of, it's not respect, because respect's got to be earned. I don't feel our owners have earned respect from the other clubs because of the way they dealt with everything. But the lack of credibility with which the West Ham is held, I think that almost Chelsea can hold us in contempt because they know we'll probably do a deal. And all the while, we're missing out on players, and we have this we have this situation where we're caught between a rock and a hard place in many respects, because in terms of selling, we can't. Basically everybody's underpaying us for the players that they want to buy off us. Yet everybody's charging us more for the players that we want to buy. It's a crazy situation, and one that's really, really unhealthy. And just on the eve of the season, I think this one can run and run, but I'm not sure how well it ends up for West Ham. The stories just won't go away. And for that reason, I do think, and I didn't at the start, I do think there's a massive element of truth in it.